Chapter 1055, 1055, Miss Yi, please wait. Mu Suifeng suddenly called Yi Wanwan to a stop at the main entrance. Yi Wanwan paused. Mr. Mu. Mu Suifeng hesitated briefly before asking, Miss Yi, if I might be so blunt to ask, do you know the Martial Arts Union? Yi Wanwan expressed her suspicion. Martial Arts Union? I don't think so. Mu Suifeng couldn't sense any hint of lying from her expression, so he said, I saw Miss Yi was quite talented and had a unique understanding of martial arts, so I thought you were a member of the Martial Arts Union. Is the Martial Arts Union an organization like a martial arts association? Yi Wanwan asked curiously. When Mu Suifeng heard that, he revealed a reminiscent expression. The Martial Arts Union is on a completely different level from ordinary martial arts associations. Have you heard of the independent state, Miss Yi? Independent state? Yi Wanwan shook her head. I haven't. She had never heard of anything mentioned by Mu Suifeng. However, a strange feeling inexplicably arose when she heard the words Martial Arts Union and Independent State. What kind of place is the independent state? Yi Wanwan curiously asked. As Mu Suifeng looked into the distant sky, he had a yearnful expression on his face. He replied, several hundred years ago, at the peak of China's martial arts culture, there was a saying, the poor become scholars, and the rich become martial artists. At that time, nearly all the affluent families and patrician clans revered military skills and were passionate about gaining military merit. Hence, many great patrician clans amassed a profuse amount of killing and martial arts techniques. However, as time passed, the great patrician clans slowly distanced themselves from military affairs. Genuine Chinese killing and martial arts techniques also slowly disappeared. The remnants of the martial art techniques studied by martial arts patrician families like Sun Lizhong are merely simplified versions of what survived from hundreds of years ago. Mu Suifeng paused briefly before continuing. However, there's still a place in the present that contains a lot of genuine hidden clans and martial arts experts. Yi Wanwan hurried asked, is it the independent state that you mentioned, Mr. Mu? Mu Suifeng nodded and said, that's right. In which city is the independent state located? How come I've never heard of it? Yi Wanwan asked, not understanding. Mu Suifeng answered, the independent state was originally named Tefra State and is located in northern Europe. It isn't a city and is actually a state formed by many cities. It doesn't belong to any of the 5 countries in northern Europe, nor does it belong to any country or organization in the world. It's an independent administrative region, so it's also called the independent state. Before the Middle Ages, the independent state was merely a desolate region until a Chinese martial arts expert spread his top-rate killing and martial art techniques there and brought it to new heights. The independent state's power also grew stronger as a result. Although the independent state has declined quite a bit, several important hidden clans still hold an immense amount of power. Mu Suifeng continued, the independent state reveres martial arts. Although it's located in northern Europe, it's the most prosperous place for China's martial arts culture. Experts from all over the world assemble there. People in the outside world like Wolf King Seni and Sun Lizhong overrun the streets of the independent state. Astonishment filled Yi Wanwan as she listened. She eagerly asked, is there really a place like that? Seeing Yi Wanwan's great interest, Mu Suifeng chuckled and said, it does exist, but an extremely small number of people know about it. The headquarters of the Martial Arts Union is located in the independent state. Chapter 1056. So the Martial Arts Union is basically a superior version of an ordinary martial arts association and is the gathering place for the top hidden experts? Yi Wanwan asked. Mu Suifeng said with a smile, that's a good interpretation of it. Mr. Mu, are you a member of the Martial Arts Union? Yi Wanwan asked reflexively. Otherwise, why was Mu Suifeng so knowledgeable about things unknown to normal people? Mu Suifeng sighed lightly. The Martial Arts Union has many branches all over the world. Many years ago, I held a post in the Harbor City branch of the Martial Arts Union, but the branch disbanded, so I also left. So it's like that. Upon seeing the grief on Mu Suifeng's face, Yi Wanwan couldn't help but ask, Why did it disband? Did something happen? Mu Suifeng muttered. Well, the chain of events back then was very sudden. There wasn't any news from the headquarters and I was merely a manager, so I don't know what happened. After I left, I became a businessman. Yi Wanwan shook her head. When Mu Suifeng extracted himself from his memories, he apologetically said, My bad, I accidentally dumped this on you without any regard for you. Yi Wanwan said with a smile. Not a problem. I'm pretty interested in what you said. I never knew there was a place like this. Experts overrunning the streets, the mere thought of it sent chills down her back. Mu Suifeng watched Yi Wanwan for a moment. The suspicion in his mind was dispelled when he saw the girl's naive and guileless appearance. Mu Suifeng, if Miss Yi is interested, we can have a meal together when you have time, and we can sit down for a long talk. I can answer any questions you have. Yi Wanwan, all right. Thank you, Mr. Mu. Mu Suifeng, you're welcome, Miss Yi. After Yi Wanwan bid farewell to Mu Suifeng, Yi Wanwan brought the 5 guards back to the little house of Rose. Since Si Yihan hadn't returned yet, Yi Wanwan went upstairs to find Tengte. Downstairs, the 5 guards waited for Su Yi to return to report to him. After Yi Wanwan left, the 5 people engaged in enthusiastic discussion amongst themselves. A person can't truly be judged by their looks. Miss Yi is too strong. How can a girl be so fearsome? I suddenly feel like a loser. I've actually previously heard several bodyguards talking about Miss Yi before. They said Miss Yi taught Captain 11 and Head Captain Feng and was their master. I didn't believe it at all back then and thought it was nonsense. Turns out it's true. Say, who do you think is more awesome between Miss Yi and Miss Qin? The 5 of them were talking so excitedly that they didn't notice Si Yihan and Su Yi had returned and were standing behind them. Su Yi felt something was amiss as he listened to their conversation. What did those guards mean by, Miss Yi is too strong? Miss Wanwan didn't fight, right? He remembered his master forbade Miss Wanwan from fighting. Before Su Yi could think further, he heard one of the guards zealously say, Damn! Isn't it obvious? Even that trash, Yamamoto Tsubasa, was tyrannically thrashed by our Miss Yi. Su Yi's expression shifted. By the time he wanted to stop them, it was too late. The other guard quickly added, and that's Sun Xuezhen. She actually dared to provoke our Miss Yi. Didn't Miss Yi end up teaching her a lesson instead? Si Yihan. Chapter 1057 Su Yi. He should have known. How could it have been possible for Miss Wanwan to abstain from fighting in that type of setting? Su Yi was about to speak up to prevent the 5 guards from saying anything more, but Si Yihan raised his hand and stopped Su Yi. Su Yi had no choice but to silently retreat to the side. The duo was standing behind the rose bushes, so the 5 guards didn't notice them. The 5 guards continued to discuss heatedly. Say, it was kind of weird though, wasn't it? Weird how? Wasn't it weird? At first, Miss Yi was completely uninterested in fighting. The first time those people make the representatives go on stage, Miss Yi declined. The second time they requested Miss Yi to go on stage to compete again, Miss Yi went on the stage to obey the rules but still didn't plan on fighting at all. She forfeited as soon as she went on stage. That's right. Another guard nodded and agreed. Even after the martial arts conference ended and Yamamoto Tsubasa came to challenge everyone, Miss Yi didn't plan on fighting and wanted to take us and leave. However, it's understandable. That type of trash is on a completely different level from Miss Yi, so it's natural if Miss Yi thought fighting them was beneath her. Moreover, the conference ended at that point and it was the Sun family's private business, so it was unnecessary for Miss Yi to take action. Well, why did Miss Yi act so suddenly then? Another guard asked. From all of this, Su Yi could guess what happened. It appeared Miss Wanwan really hadn't planned on fighting in the beginning. Si Yihan's expression remained expressionless as he listened to the guards. One of the guards suggested, Miss Yi probably decided to fight because of that Yamamoto Tsubasa's provocations and insults, right? The lead guard recalled the events and said, In truth, I could sense Miss Yi really didn't want to fight. Even when he called her trash and claimed he would beat her to death, her face didn't change at all. It wasn't until, The other 4 people remembered as well and said simultaneously, until Yamamoto Tsubasa said something like she was an invalid's lover. That's right, that's right. Now that you mention it, I remember it too. I was closest to Miss Yi then, and it wasn't until Miss Yi heard this sentence that her expression changed. Her expression was frightening. I got goosebumps from it. Well, that's unsurprising. A woman does care more about things like this. She definitely wasn't happy about being called a lover. Miss Yi has it hard too. Why do I think differently? That's not the important part, right? Some gossipy people also called her that before, but Miss Yi didn't seem to care. She maintained her calm the whole time, but why did she explode when Yamamoto Tsubasa said it? As the guards conversed, Yi Wanwan walked down from upstairs. Miss Yi. The 5 people greeted her in unison. Upon seeing that they were still there, Yi Wanwan offhandedly asked, "Your patriarch isn't back yet?" "Yes," one of them answered. Then he probed. "Miss Yi, can I ask you a question?" What question?" "Ask away." The lead guard said, "It seemed like you didn't plan on fighting during this martial arts conference all along, but why did you suddenly fight in the end, and also beat up Yamamoto Tsubasa so badly? Was it because Yamamoto Tsubasa humiliated you and us Chinese martial artists?" One of the younger guards asked with starry eyes. Yi Wanwan blinked before saying earnestly, "Nonsense. Of course I beat him. Who told him to call Agio an invalid?" "The guards." Chapter 1058. Even Si Yihan was startled by this response, not to mention the 5 guards. Su Yi rubbed his temples, wanting to cry, but he didn't have any tears. As expected, he couldn't predict Miss Wanwan's train of thought using common sense. On the other hand, the 5 guards were dumbfounded by her response. They ran through an infinite number of possibilities but never expected this to be it. No wonder she didn't act until Yamamoto Tsubasa said that. It was because Yamamoto Tsubasa called their patriarch an invalid? How protective. Yi Wanwan raised her brows at their dumbfounded expressions. "What?" "Nothing." The 5 people choked, shaking their heads frantically. "Are there any more questions?" The lead guard hesitantly asked. "Then the reason you didn't fight at first was because..." Yi Wanwan sighed. "Part of it was because I was uninterested. But the main reason was, your master didn't allow me to fight." The 5 guards, they never would have thought of that. So, their guesses were completely off the mark? When Yi Wanwan thought about it, she got a huge headache. She sighed miserably. "However, I ended up breaking the rules anyway. How sinful. Enough chatting, I need to go buy durians. I wonder if 2 will be enough." The 5 guards, they just asked 2 simple questions, but why did they feel like their mouths just got stuffed with dog food? Even the already numb Su Yi felt sorrow seeping through his heart this time. Ever since Miss Wanwan changed abruptly, she really became skilled at elaborate ways of abusing dogs, without any repetition. Yi Wanwan first looked through the kitchen but couldn't find any. "Master, what are you looking for?" Heidi asked as she quickly came over. "Do we have any durians?" Yi Wanwan asked. You want to eat durian, master? I'll go buy some now." "Okay, buy 2. Don't buy ones that are too hard. If it's too hard, it'll hurt when I kneel on them." "All right, I'll go now." Heidi swiftly left. Yi Wanwan closed the fridge, sighing and lamenting at the same time. How should she pacify him this time? Kneeling on a durian probably wouldn't be enough. She fought twice. Just as Yi Wanwan racked her brain over this, she turned around and unexpectedly saw Si Yihan standing at the kitchen entrance. When did he come back? He was currently wearing a very formal black suit and looked austere and cold, like the fog at the snowy peak of a mountain. Yi Wanwan gulped. Agio, you're back?" Si Yihan nodded and walked toward her. Yi Wanwan scratched her head and hastily said, "Well, you heard them mention what happened at the martial arts conference today, right? I have to explain it to you. It's not what you think. The first time I fought, that guy provoked me and just had to fight with me, so I had no choice. The second time wasn't fighting. Sun Shuezhen insisted on making me instruct her a little. Right, it was instructing, it absolutely wasn't fighting." Si Yihan slowly walked until he reached her. He extended an arm out and slid it around her waist. Yi Wanwan reflexively leaned back and hit the fridge. I'm telling you, Si Yihan, tell me later. Yi Wanwan, huh? He propped his other hand on the fridge behind her. As he spoke, he bent forward and landed a kiss on her soft lips without warning. Yi Wanwan's eyes shot open in shock. This outcome is off, isn't it? I violated his rules and broke my promise. Shouldn't he punish me instead? Why is he rewarding me instead? Chapter 1059. 1059 suddenly so gentle? She was really overwhelmed by his spoiling. Yi Wanwan was dazed from the kiss. I fought. Si Yihan embraced her. Yes. Yi Wanwan was even more dumbfounded. I even fought twice. Is this punishment? Yes, if this was the past, this would be punishment indeed, considering how much she loathed Si Yihan's touch. But now, Yi Wanwan blinked and peered up at Si Yihan. Then she mumbled, if this is punishment, then should I go out and fight hundreds of times every day? Si Yihan was somewhat speechless. No nonsense. Yi Wanwan pouted. It's the truth. Didn't you explain the first time was involuntary and the second time was educational? Si Yihan asked. Yi Wanwan bobbed her head. Right. I absolutely didn't want to fight. Si Yihan, just this once. He's actually so easygoing this time? Yi Wanwan was full of surprise but also breathed a sigh of relief with immense delight at the same time. Thank goodness she didn't have to kneel on a durian. Alright. Agio, do you know the martial arts union and the independent state? Yi Wanwan asked with excitement. The second Si Yihan heard that, his eyes cracked like ice. However, they returned to normal in the blink of an eye. He looked at her and calmly said, I haven't. Why are you asking so suddenly? Yi Wanwan replied, it was mentioned when I was talking to Mr. Mu today. He said I was really skilled, so he thought I was a member of the martial arts union. He also said the headquarters of the martial arts union, the independent state, was especially passionate about martial arts, and experts overran the streets. Si Yihan, is that so? Yeah. However, I went looking on the internet for half a day but still couldn't find it. If it weren't for the fact that Mr. Mu said he previously worked at a branch of the martial arts union, I would have thought he was telling me a story. Mu Suifeng once worked at the martial arts union? That's what he said. Yi Wanwan appeared to have detected something amiss with Si Yihan's expression and how his arm kept tightening, approaching the point of causing pain. She automatically frowned and asked, Agio, what's wrong? Nothing. Si Yihan instantly relaxed his arms and gently patted her head before pulling her into his arms again. Yi Wanwan ignored it and continued to mutter, I really want to go to that something state to play. I wonder where it is. The swing is finished. Do you want to take a look? Si Yihan suddenly asked. Yi Wanwan's attention was instantly diverted. Really? That's great. I'll go call Tang Tang. Si Yihan, go on. Yi Wanwan dashed off merrily at once. As Si Yihan watched her retreating figure, his cold and aloof demeanor instantly shattered. Nighttime, Yi Wanwan participated in the martial arts conference in the morning, then played with Tang Tang on the swing the entire afternoon, so she fell asleep as soon as her head hit her pillow that night. In her dreams, she was happily having fun with Si Yihan and Tang Tang, but then the scene took an abrupt turn. The sounds of gunshots, explosions, and screaming. Blood and fire everywhere she could see. Countless terrifying shadows pressing closer to her. She frantically killed and fled, until she reached the tip of a cliff and plunged into a bottomless black abyss. Yi Wanwan abruptly woke up, a cold sweat running down her forehead. Chapter 1060. What's going on? She hadn't had this nightmare in a really long time. Yi Wanwan subconsciously held Tang Tang tightly. As she felt the warmth emanating from the little fella, the icy feeling in her body slowly receded. Detecting some movement next to him, Si Yihan opened his eyes. What is it? Yi Wanwan shook her head. It's nothing. I just had a nightmare. I'm probably too tired from today. What did you dream about? It was a nightmare. I was being hunted and so on, you know, the usual. There was blood everywhere, so scary. Seihin was silent for a moment before he leaned over and planted a kiss on her forehead. I'm here. Yi Wanwan narrowed her eyes like a content cat and relaxed, quickly falling back asleep. This time, her dream was happy and cheerful. The next day, Age of the Immortals Entertainment Building, conference room. They were holding a regular company meeting today, mainly to announce some changes in the senior management and plans for the next quarter. After a period of operating and amalgamating, their company slowly got onto the right track. Yi Mufan would now be both the company's general manager and director of design and was in charge of all outside events and the styling of their artists. Yi Wanwan continued to be the director of the talent recruitment department and managed the company from behind the scenes. One sibling would take care of external management while the other sibling would take care of internal management. Yi Wanwan said, Luo Chen and Gong Su will stop all assignments and focus all their energy on shooting the new movie. Luo Chen, you're in charge of supervising Gong Su. Luo Chen, okay. Gong Su grumbled, why is he managing me? Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. Who told you to drag Luo Chen down with you? Ever since Gong Su made that Weibo post, the hottest topic online was a shit-eating camaraderie for a very long time. People said good brothers would drink together, eat meat together, and flirt with girls together. And then there was them eating shit together. What a close friendship. Yi Wanwan then turned to Han Xinyu. Xinyu, your current public exposure level is too low. Here are a few reality shows to choose from. Han Xinyu nodded. All right. As Han Xinyu looked at Yi Bai, who was dressed as a man again and was as proficient as usual, he felt a bit dazed. The events that happened in the shopping center that day felt like a dream. When he saw Yi Bai acting so normally, he wondered whether the events that day really unfolded. Now, Chairman Yi will speak about the plans for next quarter. Yi Wanwan returned to her seat. Yi Mufan nodded and walked to the giant screen. He was about to speak when Gong Su suddenly shot up like a lunatic. Shit! What the hell did I just see? Yi Mufan turned livid. Gong Su, we're having a meeting right now. Did this guy have ADHD? Gong Su pointed at this phone in shock. Who cares about the meeting? Quick, go and open the link I sent in the group. There's a big juicy piece of gossip. Yi Mufan was so angry he wanted to beat him up. He seriously suspected Gong Su had chosen the wrong career and should have been a paparazzi instead. With his passion, perhaps he would have been the #1 correspondent in the entertainment industry by now. Han Xinyu helplessly shook his head. What juicy gossip is it now? Gong Su looked at Han Xinyu in astonishment. Brother Xinyu, you're asking me? Han Xinyu didn't understand. What do you mean? Gong Su stared at his phone and read, enunciating each word carefully. Han. Xian. Use. Newest. Relationship. Exposed. Chapter 1061. 1061. Pikaf. Fei Yang spat out the water he was drinking. What are you saying? Luo Chen also looked at Han Xinyu in shock. Even Yi Wanwan was surprised. If the subject of this piece of gossip was Gong Su instead, she could understand it since that was incredibly normal. However, Han Xinyu? Han Xinyu's new relationship, exposed? If she had to list male celebrities with the cleanest record in the entertainment industry, Han Xinyu would definitely be one of them. He only had one girlfriend since he started his career and didn't waver at all. They broke up because the girl cheated on him with some wealthy businessman. Even so, Han Xinyu never said anything negative about her in any public settings. It was the girl who deliberately said misleading things after Han Xinyu's scandal to freeload off his fame. She misguided the public into thinking Han Xinyu was a pedophile and nearly caused Han Xinyu to meet his demise. Ever since then, there hadn't been any romance-related news published about Han Xinyu, and he even distanced himself from any romance-related rumors. Just which female celebrity managed to be implicated in a relationship rumor with Han Xinyu? With that thought in mind, Yi Wanwan's interest was piqued, and she quickly clicked the entertainment article Gong Su posted in the group chat. However, Yi Wanwan saw a very clear photo of the backs of a man and a woman under the headlines on the front page. The man was Han Xinyu and the woman was actually herself. Yi Wanwan nearly choked on her own spit. Shit. Wasn't this from the day she ran into Han Xinyu at the shopping center? When did someone take a photo of them without them knowing? Yi Wanwan kept scrolling down. Thankfully, the photographer didn't get any photos from the front and only got their backs and a few profile shots. Then she rapidly skimmed the contents of the article. It turned out the photo was leaked from a fan of Han Xinyu. A fan managed to recognize Han Xinyu based on his back and the clothes he was wearing, so she took these photos when she saw Han Xinyu shopping with a girl. Gong Su accused him heatedly, "Brother Xinyu, you're such an awful friend. How could you deceive us after getting into a relationship?" Han Xinyu rubbed his temples and reflexively glanced at Yi Wanwan, an exasperated expression appearing on his face. He never would have expected someone to take a photo of them that day. This was too big of a blunder. "Brother Xinyu, tell me honestly, who is that girl? Lu Yinin? Fu Shui? Qin Shaochu? Could it be? Damn. Could it be Qiao Kersen?" The corners of Han Xinyu's lips twitched. "Tell him the truth? Could I possibly say the girl in the picture is my good brother, Yi Bai, who's sitting with us?" Yi Wanwan also had a throbbing headache. She considered every possibility but never would have expected herself to dig her grave there. "It'd probably be useless even if I crippled my knees from kneeling on a washboard." Han Xinyu looked at the wildly invigorated Gong Su. "Don't make wild guesses. It's not what you think." Gong Su's eyes brightened. "Then what is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Tell me." Fei Yang looked sullen. "How should we respond?" Xinyu refused to tell him the identity of the girl and her relationship to him, so he was in a panic himself. "Brother Yang, could it be that you also didn't know about this?" As soon as Gong Su heard that, he became even more astonished. Luo Chen also expressed his curiosity, a rare occasion. With Fei Yang's abilities, if he knew who that girl was and her relationship to Han Xinyu, he could immediately make the most suitable response statement. However, Fei Yang was hesitant, which meant he probably also hadn't known about this article. Chapter 1062 Han Xinyu calmly said, "Answer with the truth and say we're platonic friends." Yi Wanwan nodded in approval. "The media will just go crazy for a few days and won't find any new information. The furor will pass in a week at most." Gong Su immediately asked, "What if they do find new information?" Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at him. "Then I'd like to see which media outlet has the capability to dig out this information. This is freaking me in my female clothes, all right? Where could they find me?" Han Xinyu lightly coughed. "Cough. What Yi Bai means is that we're really platonic friends, so there isn't anything interesting to find." When Gong Su heard that, disappointment filled his face. "What? You're really only platonic friends? How boring." As Gong Su pressed for more information, he diligently flipped through the related gossip. Suddenly, a photo in one of the gossip articles caught his attention, and his voice abruptly halted. Even his expression changed. "This is..." Gong Su shot up. Yi Wanwan detected something wrong with Gong Su's expression, and her heart skipped a beat. "Little candied plum. This is my little candied plum." Gong Su exclaimed in shock as he fervently stared at one of the profile shots. Then he swiftly pounced on Han Xinyu. "Han Xinyu, what the hell is going on? Why were you with my little candied plum? You know little candied plum?" Yi Wanwan was utterly shocked. What kind of eyes did Gong Su have? They were merely photos of her back in profile. Even her actual brother, Yi Mufan, didn't recognize her from the photos, so how in the world did he recognize her? Han Xinyu was evidently surprised as well and subconsciously looked at Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan rubbed her temples and said, "Gong Su, calm down. Don't jump to conclusions from such limited evidence. How can you recognize someone from a back photo?" "Gong Su, my instincts." Yi Wanwan. He truly had the instincts of a wild animal. Yi Wanwan. If it's little candied plum, wouldn't I be able to recognize her? When he heard that, Gong Su was at a loss for words. After all, Yi Bai was little candied plum's brother. Since he said it wasn't her, it really isn't? Gong Su remained suspicious. "It isn't." Yi Wanwan replied with conviction. "Gong Su." Yi Wanwan sighed with relief. Thankfully, Gong Su was easy to deceive. Gong Su pitifully begged, "Brother Yi, considering how my mind has gone unhinged from longing for little candied plums so much, can't you let me see her just once?" Yi Wanwan glanced at Gong Su. "I can." Gong Su was startled briefly before disbelief filled his face. "Brother Yi, are you for real?" Yi Wanwan nodded. "If you can get Best Actor at the Golden Orchid Awards, I'll let you see her." When Han Xinyu heard that, he reflexively glanced at Yi Wanwan. Gong Su instantly shot off like an arrow toward Yi Wanwan in joy. "Oh! Brother Yi, I love you too much." Gong Su was about to pounce onto Yi Wanwan. Yi Mufan had already established a habit of watching Gong Su carefully, so when he saw that, he quietly cursed and hurried to block Gong Su. However, he didn't expect someone to act faster than him. Han Xinyu had already extended his arm to block Gong Su. "Brother Xinyu, what are you doing?" Gong Su was very displeased. Han Xinyu said with a faint smile, "It's nothing. I just wanted to ask you where you had your hair done today." "Oh, isn't it especially handsome? Let me tell you, in order to set an appointment with that hairstylist, I had my assistant ask him 3 months in advance." "It's that." Gong Su's attention was instantly deterred, and he started talking non-stop about his new hairstyle. He didn't notice how strange Han Xinyu's change of topic was at all. Yi Wanwan rubbed her forehead, speechless. It appeared that being forgetful was a good thing too. Chapter 1063. 1063. After the meeting ended, Yi Mufan pulled Yi Wanwan to the side to talk. "Yi Mufan, right man, there's something." "Yi Wanwan, what is it?" Yi Mufan said, "About Han Xinyu's scandal, you should find a time and talk to him about it. I feel like there's something off with his behavior today. If he hid something from us and doesn't have a platonic friendship with that woman, we might get into some trouble." When Yi Wanwan heard this, her lips twitched. "Don't worry. He's hiding something from us, but it really isn't what you think it is. They're just friends." "Yi Mufan, how do you know?" After all, it was too common for celebrities to hide their relationships from their agencies, so they couldn't say that with certainty no matter how amicable their relationship was. "Yi Wanwan, because the woman in that photo is me, your sister, huh?" Yi Mufan was completely dumbfounded, and he took half a day to react. He emotionally asked, "Wait, you're saying your identity got exposed?" Yi Wanwan had no choice but to explain the entire matter. Realization dawned on Yi Mufan. No wonder Han Xinyu blocked Gong Su faster than me today. I have to say, Han Xinyu is truly a good person. Yi Mufan suddenly remembered something and quickly asked. He didn't react after learning about this. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. How could he not react? However, the good thing is that Han Xinyu has a calmer personality than the other two. If it were either of them instead, the outcome would be more unpredictable. Yi Wanwan then suspiciously asked, "Why aren't you asking me about what I promised Gong Su earlier?" She told Yi Mufan the story behind Little Candied Plum, so Yi Mufan knew she was the one Gong Su had been searching for and kept a tight guard against Gong Su. She promised Gong Su in the meeting today that she would let him see Little Candied Plum if he got the Best Actor award, but Yi Mufan didn't seem to have any qualms about that. Ask what? It's not like Gong Su can get Best Actor anyway. Yi Mufan looked as if that went without saying. Yi Wanwan, so that's what he was thinking? In reality, she thought Gong Su's potential was quite high. If he worked hard this time, she did really plan on fulfilling his wishes since she wanted to find a suitable opportunity to tell him the truth regardless. Oh right. Wanwan, the date of Yi and Guyuez's engagement banquet has been set. Grandfather and grandmother want our parents and us to attend. Yi Mufan didn't look too pleased when he said that. If you don't want to go, I can let them know. You don't need to go. Yi Wanwan raised her brows. I'm going. It's a good opportunity to improve grandfather and grandmother's opinions of me, so why wouldn't I go? Since grandfather and grandmother are allowing father and mother to go as well, it means they're softening their stance toward our parents. It's a good sign. Yi Mufan knitted his brows. It's the engagement banquet of 2 pieces of scum. Won't you feel disgusted when you go? Yi Wanwan smiled. Disgusted? Who knows who the disgusted one will be? Then Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan. The second branch probably can't hold back anymore and is anxious to attack. You haven't caused any trouble outside lately, right? She was afraid they would get some dirt on Yi Mufan again. Everything they had done would be ruined if that was the case. Yi Mufan immediately protested indignantly, Hey, is your brother like that? You already warned me, so how would I dare to cause any trouble? Last time, a woman threw herself at me and got into my car naked, but I didn't even get in, alright. Yi Wanwan's lips twitched. So good of you, Yi Mufan, I have been since the beginning. Chapter 1064. At the old residence of the Yi family, Yi sat in front of the dressing table and was leisurely looking through the sparkling pieces of jewelry on the table's surface. Liang Meixian stood by the side with a big grin. Yi, what mom chose for you is perfect. You should wear this necklace for the engagement banquet and you'll stun everyone there. I didn't expect that damn girl, Yi Wanwan, to grow more and more like a foxy vixen as she turned older. However, no matter how pretty she is, she's still a lowlife. When Yi heard that, a dazzling and eye-catching image surfaced in her mind, and she subconsciously clenched her fingers. Did everyone from the eldest branch get an invitation? Liang Meixian was enraged. Yes, not only Yi Wanwan and Yi Mufan, but Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun also got invitations. Those two old geezers are so biased. They never stopped praying for their grandson to inherit the family. Yet Yi Mufan turned smart all of a sudden and has been impenetrable. I've sent people to test him a few times, but nobody got a chance to act. What about the woman you sent last time? Yi asked. Liang Meixian gritted her teeth. She also returned without any success. She even took off her clothes, but Yi Mufan didn't take the bait. That woman had AIDS, so if Yi Mufan was infected, their problem would be solved once and for all. Unfortunately, they hadn't succeeded. Yi Mufan probably changed from shock, so he's on high alert. It won't be easy to target him. Yi's eyes turned colder. Liang Meixian sneered. Not a problem. We can't target Yi Mufan, but we still have that idiot, Yi Wanwan. As Liang Meixian said that, she picked up a ring box made from black swan down off the dressing table. When she opened the box, an extremely pretty jade ring was revealed. Its immense value was apparent. When Liang Meixian saw the ring, her eyes brightened. Is this the engagement ring you picked with Yueza? How gorgeous! Yeah. The mention of Gu Yueza caused Yi's expression to become gentler. Liang Meixian closed the box and said, Yi, I'll take this ring to Huang Mingkuan and have him find a chance to secretly sneak it into Yi Wanwan's possession on the day of the engagement banquet. Yi's eyes sparkled. Mom, are you saying we'll trap Yi Wanwan and blame her for stealing my engagement ring? Liang Meixian, that's right. Doubt remained on Yi's face. Will this work? Liang Meixian sounded certain. That family is dirt poor. Everyone will believe it if we say they stole it. Anyway, Yi Wanwan has always been resentful about your relationship with Yueza. With the number of honored guests there, I'd like to see how that family will be thick-faced and stay in the Yi family. When Yi heard that, she nodded and said, That's right, a trap of this level is enough to deal with Yi Wanwan. Liang Meixian was extremely confident as she said, You just have to dress nice and leave the rest to me. I'll tell Huang Mingkuan about it later. When Yi heard Huang Mingkuan's name, she frowned. Mom, when will you make Huang Mingkuan leave the Yi residence? Liang Meixian gently comforted her. Be good. I know you don't like him, but he still has his use. We still need his help for many things. Your hands can't be dirted by these matters. Yi's eyes brimmed with disgust. But he, Liang Meixian said, Don't worry. He won't be a threat to your position. Everything that he has right now depends on you, so he's more afraid about the truth coming out than you. Chapter 1065. Little House of Rose. Agio, where should we take Tang Tang next weekend? Yi Wanwan cheerfully ran to the study to see him. It was currently evening and the study wasn't lit, so the room was a bit dim. Si Yihan sat in his broad chair, his face completely hidden in the shadows. Agio. Yi Wanwan had to call a few times before she got a response from the man. What? Yi Wanwan walked over with a deep frown and reached out to check the man's forehead. Are you alright? You don't look so good. Are you feeling unwell anywhere? Si Yihan reached out and pulled her to sit on his lap. It's nothing. Today's meeting ran a little long. You just recovered slightly, so you have to continue to maintain it. I got you back to good health after great trouble, so you can't regress so easily, alright. Sickness comes like a landslide but goes away slowly like spinning silk. Dr. Sun already said that although there weren't any major issues with your health right now, your body was too damaged in the past, so it won't be that easy to recover. Si Yihan embraced her and silently listened to her chatter. Yes. What were you saying earlier? Si Yihan asked. I was asking where we should take Tang Tang next weekend. Yi Wanwan answered. Want to go to Sandalwood Villa? Yi Wanwan immediately bobbed her head frantically. Yes, yes, yes. That's so high class and its guests are all big shots like you. I've only heard other people mentioning it but I've never gone myself. We can ride horses, race cars, surf, and even drive planes ourselves. Tang Tang will definitely like it. When Si Yihan heard Yi Wanwan say, Tang Tang will definitely like it, he didn't expose her like usual. I'll have Su Yi make arrangements then. Yi Wanwan remembered that she had to attend the engagement banquet. First, she peered covertly at Si Yihan with caution, then she probed, there's still a thing? Tomorrow is my cousin's engagement banquet, so I have to attend. I might get home late. Si Yihan, your cousin's engagement banquet? Yi Wanwan pretended to be calm. Yes. Si Yihan sent her a meaningful look. Isn't that your ex-fiancé's engagement banquet? Yi Wanwan. Fine. She purposefully changed the wording but was still exposed. Yi Wanwan choked briefly before saying without any hesitation, What ex-fiancé? Blah. I was merely too young back then and couldn't see him for the rubbish he was. My husband is you, baby. Si Yihan. This girl, her ability to bullshit is getting better and better. I'm clearly not her only baby anymore. Yet he liked every word she said and liked how heartless she could be. Yi Wanwan was full of flattery. Baby, you absolutely won't be jealous of something like this, right? Si Yihan glanced at her. I have a business dinner tonight. Bring my clothes over. Oh, okay. Right away. Yi Wanwan hopped off Si Yihan's lap and went to the clothes rack to take his clothes to him. I have it. Now what? Yi Wanwan completed the errand very docilely. Si Yihan said, Help me change. Yi Wanwan was startled briefly before she stared fervently at his collar, where even the first button was done up meticulously. Can I go if I help you change? This is most welcome, alright? I've been getting too many rewards recently. I'm having digestion problems. Chapter 1066. Yi Wanwan extended her hand and unfastened his dress shirt button by button, revealing sliver after sliver of skin. She intentionally tried to look away but also couldn't help but peek secretly. A true danger for my life. Why do I feel like Si Yihan has been purposefully seducing me the past 2 days? Isn't he overestimating my self-control? Alas, she managed to help Si Yihan change with the help of her iron willpower. It wasn't until she finished changing him that she realized, Si Yihan didn't request this because I previously helped Tang Tang get dressed, right? Yi Wanwan was speechlessly amused but also felt her heart melting into a puddle. The more she interacted with this man, the more she found him to be different from his cold and brutal exterior. The day of the engagement banquet arrived swiftly. The entrance to the Yi family's old residence bustled with activity. There was an endless stream of luxurious cars and distinguished guests in extravagant attire. When Yi Wanwan, Yi Mufan, and their parents got out of the car and saw this scene, they looked a bit dazed. The last time their family was here was for grandfather's birthday banquet. When a guest greeter at the entrance saw Yi Wanwan and her family, they came up with a broad smile. Eldest young master, second miss, please enter. Yi Mufan's expression turned cold, and he uttered a non-committal response before leading his parents and sister inside. The last time they were here, they were blocked outside due to a lack of invitation and were ridiculed by Huang Mingquan and the security. Now, after they started showing up often at the old residence to feast with the grandparents, The servants saw a turn in circumstances and didn't dare to offend them on the surface. Wanwan, Dad and I know you're unhappy, but you must be calm and you can't act recklessly, you understand? Liang Wanjun advised with worry, fearing Wanwan would cause trouble like in the past. Although her daughter had changed a lot lately, she knew Gu Yueza's importance in her daughter's heart too well. Today was such a special day, so her daughter was bound to be affected somehow. I originally told Yi Mufan to tell you didn't have to come, but well, Yi Shouting sighed with a frown. Mufan, take good care of your sister, all right? When Yi Mufan heard this, his lips twitched. I know. In which universe did he have to take care of her? He reckoned several Gu Yueza and Ts added together still wouldn't be enough to defeat her. Dad, Mom, I know. I'll be good. Yi Wanwan looked well behaved. Yi Mufan, pretend. Keep pretending. He didn't think she would refrain from wreaking havoc in the slightest. Yi Mufan whispered next to Yi Wanwan's ears, you insisted on coming here. What in the world are you planning to do? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. The things you say, what could I possibly do? Of course I came here to have a nice festive meal. I never cause trouble. Yi Mufan, only an idiot would believe you. The arrival of Yi Shouting and his family attracted quite a number of gazes. The people who were congratulating Yi and Gu Yueza all turned to survey them with odd looks. Yi walked over with her arms looped around Gu Yueza's arm. Wang, Mufan, Uncle Annie, you're here. Yi Mufan pursed his lips and snorted. Oh, congratulations. What a match you are. Yi pretended to have missed the mockery in Yi Mufan's eyes, but her hold on Gu Yueza's arm tightened as she said, thank you for coming to my engagement banquet. Gu Yueza had a wineglass in his hand and also said his thanks. Then his gaze naturally drifted toward the girl who was docilely standing next to Yi Mufan. The girl was akin to a well-nourished rose. He hadn't seen her for a few days, but she was more resplendent than before and was even more captivating. She looked nothing like her previous fat and disgusting appearance. He didn't expect there to be a day when he would have an error of judgment. Chapter 1067. After Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan greeted the guests, they headed over to them. You're here. Yi Hongwei still had a stern face when he looked at Yi Shouting, but he wasn't hostile like before. Dad, Mom. Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun quickly greeted them. Tan Yilan still looked displeased when she saw Liang Wanjun, and it only eased when she turned to Yi Mufan. She said, don't just stand here. Go and help take care of the guests. Having them look after the guests implied that they acknowledged them to be members of the Yi family. Yi Mufan hastily said, yes, Grandma, I'll go right away. Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun also answered in agreement. Although Liang Meixian and Yi Shaoan were cursing them inwardly, they maintained the smiles on their face. Oh, Mom, what are you saying? There are enough people receiving guests already. Brother and sister-in-law can just rest and enjoy the party without worrying. Yi Shaoan said with a smile, isolating Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun in a roundabout manner. Meanwhile, Yi kept an inconspicuous watch on Gu Yueza out of the corner of her eye and noticed that his gaze kept casually lingering on Yi Wanwan ever since they greeted her. Yi's eyes darkened and she detached herself from Gu Yueza before passionately grasping Yi Wanwan's hands. Wanwan, I still haven't chosen my necklace and bracelet. Won't you come and help me choose it? Yi Wanwan grinned. Sure. Then she turned to Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan and said, Grandpa, Grandma, I'm going to accompany Sister Yi. Yi Hongwei nodded. And go on. Upon seeing Yi Wanwan's well-mannered and proper disposition without a sign of losing control, both Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan revealed satisfied expressions. Yi Hongwei, in particular, had a drastically altered opinion of this granddaughter due to Professor Li Yan frequently preaching about how outstanding Wanwan's grades were. This was obviously something the second branch was unwilling to see. After the two elders were dragged into a conversation by a guest, Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun swiftly pulled Yi Mufan to the side. Mufan, go and check on your sister quick. Yi Shouting instructed him sternly. What am I going for? Yi Mufan asked, not understanding. He hadn't eaten lunch, so he was starving at the moment and had just picked up a piece of cake. Yi Shouting frowned. I'm afraid she's being bullied, of course. Why aren't you going already? Why do you only have food on your mind? Yi Mufan mumbled, Wanwan won't. How could she possibly be bullied? Liang Wanjun sent him a disapproving look at once. Of course she will. Your sister is a girl. She's sad enough on a day like today, and she's been dragged off by Yi to pick out jewelry. She must be in so much pain. Go quickly. Eat later. The more thoughtful and tolerating their daughter was, the more guilt and pain Yi Xiaoting and Liang Wanjun felt. Under the joint ushering of his parents, Yi Mufan had no choice but to put his cake down with grief and left to find Yi Wanwan. Sad? Where do you see the sadness in her, huh? She was just on the phone with her boyfriend earlier and discussing the destination of their weekend trip. Upstairs, in Yi's room, this room that faced eastward was the most spacious and had the best lighting. It was originally Yi Wanwan's room, but it now belonged to Yi, and all of Yi Wanwan's possessions were moved to a servant's room. Through the door in the bedroom was a spacious walk-in closet that was brimming with sparkling clothes, purses, and shoes. Chapter 1068. 1068. Yi Wanwan took a brief look but didn't say anything. When her father was still part of the Yi family, Yi Group was at their peak and their wealth was amongst the top 10 in Imperial City. Back then, her room was the genuine embodiment of a treasure trove and was piled with all sorts of extravagant luxury goods. They were purchased by Dad and Mom or were gifts from Yi Mufan. She also liked to buy sparkling jewelry herself. Later on, the Yi family was grievously weakened by Yi Xiaoan. After Yi Xiaoan took over the company, the Yi family couldn't recover its previous splendor. Yi didn't only bring in Yi Wanwan, but she also called on Liang Shihan and a few heiresses from her friend circle. Sister Yi, you're so beautiful today. Yi and Mr. Gu are truly a match made in heaven. I wish you both eternal love and a blissful marital life. The girls all surrounded Yi in a buzz and exuberantly congratulated her while sending occasional mocking looks to Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan went to sit on a sofa out of boredom. After the girls conversed for a while, a knock was heard, and Huang Mingkuan entered the room with drinks on a platter. Miss Wanwan, here's your tea. Yi Wanwan was casually flipping through a magazine. When Huang Mingkuan placed a cup of tea in front of Yi Wanwan, he also swiftly snuck a tiny object into her purse at a very peculiar angle without her noticing. Then he feigned normality and continued to serve the other heiresses. Eldest miss, the guests have all arrived and everything is ready downstairs, Huang Mingkuan told Yi. All right. As Yi said that, she furtively glanced at Yi Wanwan from the corner of her eyes. Huang Mingkuan immediately gave her a success look. I understand. You can leave. Yi finally relaxed. Yes. Huang Mingkuan left the room compliantly. Yi wanted to change, so everyone went back downstairs. In the banquet hall downstairs, Yi Wanwan had just arrived downstairs when she ran into Yi Mufan rushing toward her. Brother, why are you running? Yi Wanwan asked upon noticing Yi Mufan's hurry. Yi Mufan mumbled, Isn't it obvious that Dad and Mom were worried about you and were afraid you would be bullied, so they forced me to check on you? Warmth surfaced in Yi Wanwan's eyes. I'm fine. Let's go. Yi didn't make things difficult for you, right? Yi Mufan asked. There were outsiders there, so she would only treat me better and more politely. How could she possibly make things difficult for me? Yi Wanwan answered before instructing Yi Mufan. Brother, you should carefully study this side of her. It'd do you good even if you learned a point or two. Yi Mufan was rendered speechless. Sister, I'm showing concern for you, all right? Aren't you in the wrong mode? Yi Wanwan pursed her lips and reflexively replied, Okay, got it. Melodious music started playing, signifying the imminent start of the banquet. The hall was bustling with activity when a commotion was suddenly heard from the crowd. Huang Mingkuan led a few servants and shuffled through the crowd with anxious expressions, as if they were searching for something. Yi Mufan looked at Huang Mingkuan with a slight frown. What nuisance is that lapdog Huang causing this time? Yi Wanwan calmly glanced at the crowd before surreptitiously touching her white handbag. PFD, Yi Mufan caught Yi Wanwan's expression and asked, What is it? It's nothing. Yi Wanwan shrugged. I simply found out, someone thinks I'm a fool, huh? Yi Mufan didn't understand her. Chapter 1069. Because the commotion grew bigger, guests soon whispered to each other about the situation. What is it? Did something happen? I'm not sure. I think Yi's engagement ring is missing or something. No way. Something as important as the engagement ring must be ready in advance, right? How could it suddenly disappear? With a solemn expression, Huang Mingquan headed for Yi Wanwan and the other heiresses who went upstairs earlier. Apologies for the disturbance, miss. I wanted to ask whether you saw Miss Yi's engagement ring when you were in Miss Yi's room earlier? Huang Mingquan asked politely. A few of the heiresses shook their heads. I didn't notice it. Liang Shirhan spoke up. I saw it. Wasn't it on Miss Yi's table earlier? That's right, I saw it as well. It was a gorgeous jade ring. An heiress wearing a yellow gown also said. Liang Shirhan's gaze shifted. It was still there earlier. How could it suddenly have gone missing? It couldn't have been stolen, right? The heiress in the yellow gown said, Stolen? Everyone here today is a distinguished guest. So why would they do such a sneaky thing? All distinguished guests? That's not necessarily true, is it? Liang Shirhan glanced at Yi Wanwan bitterly. Then Liang Shirhan asked Huang Mingquan, Steward Huang, have you searched everywhere already? Huang Mingquan nodded. That's right, we've searched everywhere, but we didn't find it. The banquet is about to start, which is why I rushed over to ask you about it. If you've seen it, please inform me at once. Then Huang Mingquan purposefully adopted a troubled tone and said, I've searched all the servants in the family with an in-depth search of the servants who entered Miss Yi's room, but I haven't found anything. It's like the ring disappeared into thin air. Liang Shirhan screamed at once, How could a ring just disappear into thin air? Since it was still there when we left, then it must have disappeared when we were helping Sister Yi choose her jewelry earlier. It's only us who entered Sister Yi's room earlier. Since Steward Huang didn't find it anywhere, why don't we simply hand over our purses and allow Steward Huang to check them? If it's not there, then Steward Huang can hurry and look for it elsewhere. Upon seeing that Liang Shirhan was successfully steered by him, Huang Mingquan secretly revealed a smug smile and covered it with an apologetic expression. We're truly sorry for inconveniencing you noble ladies. In truth, I shouldn't be asking this, but today's a big day for Miss Yi. If such an important thing remains missing, I truly don't know how to tell Miss Yi. Liang Shirhan knew Huang Mingquan was a favorite of Yi, so she immediately echoed his words to curry his favor. That's right, that's right. It would be unlucky if we delayed Sister Yi's engagement banquet. I'll go first. Liang Shirhan handed her handbag over. Steward Huang, you can search mine first. Everyone was wearing a gown today, so the only possible hiding place for a ring was their handbags. The other heiresses all handed their handbags over upon seeing this. My apologies. Huang Mingquan immediately ordered the servants to check it. Obviously, Huang Mingquan only had the servants superficially check those heiresses' handbags and didn't shuffle through them. The handbags were quickly returned to their respective owners. Ah, it's still missing, Huang Mingquan sighed anxiously. Upon hearing this, Liang Shirhan said contemptuously, Hold on, Steward Huang, isn't there still someone who hasn't been searched yet? Chapter 1070. 1070, Yi Wanwan still hasn't been checked. She went upstairs with us earlier. Liang Shirhan immediately reminded them. Everyone's eyes shot toward Yi Wanwan when they heard Liang Shirhan. When the guests learned about the events that transpired, they started discussing it. They didn't find it anywhere and it disappeared after those girls stopped by, so it's very possible it's one of them who took it. But those girls? Liang Shirhan, Huang Yi, Lunanan. Which one of them isn't an heiress? Why would they do such a shifty thing? Do any of their families lack money, huh? There's only one person. Are you referring to that second miss from the eldest branch of the Yi family, Yi Wanwan? Their companion immediately finished in understanding. Who else would steal here aside from her? It probably is her. I heard that the girl has been fooling around outside after being exiled from the family. Although she looks decent right now, her nature couldn't possibly change so easily. Who knows what kinds of things she would do? Yi Wanwan, hand your bag over for Steward Huang to check already. Liang Shihan ordered her imperiously with excitement brimming in her eyes. She was certain Yi Wanwan took it. Yi Wanwan smiled nonchalantly. Why do I have to let him check it? All our bags have been checked except for yours. What right do you have to opt out? Could it be that you took the ring so you're guilty? It was at this time that Yi and Guyueza walked over. Steward Huang, have you found the ring? Yi pressed in distress. Huang Mingquan had a troubled expression. I'm sorry, Miss Yi. I'm still looking. What's going on? You still haven't found the ring yet? Yi Hongwei, Tan Yilan, and the others also came over. Liang Shihan instantly tattled on Yi Wanwan. We can now confirm that one of the people who went to Sister Yi's room took it. We allowed Steward Huang to check all our bags just now, but only Yi Wanwan is refusing to allow Steward Huang to check her bag. Her words implied it was Yi Wanwan who took it. Yi Hongwei's face grew dark. Shihan, you can't carelessly say something like that without proof. Yi Xiaoting stepped forward immediately and protected Yi Wanwan behind her. Dad, Wanwan absolutely wouldn't do that. The hard-to-anger Liang Wanjun also angrily said, Dad, Mom, please believe in Wanwan. These accusations are truly over the top. Yi Mufan balled his fists up with an upset expression. Something didn't seem right about this matter. There was no way Huang Mingquan would purposely seek trouble from Wanwan in this type of setting. Like Wanwan said earlier, they would pretend to be more polite and courteous the more people there were. Unless they were absolutely certain they could drag Wanwan down. Could it be that the bastard, Huang Mingquan, secretly stuck the ring into Wanwan's bag? No way. He absolutely couldn't allow them to search Wanwan's bag. Yi Mufan's expression turned darker. He immediately said, Does Wanwan have to agree to be searched just because everyone else agreed to be searched? Which law dictates that people have the right to conduct private searches on someone without just cause? Liang Shihan was certain it was Yi Wanwan who took the ring, so how could she let this matter go? You all keep saying Yi Wanwan didn't take it, but you won't make Yi Wanwan hand her bag over to be searched. What is this if it's not guilt? Wouldn't we find out whether she took it or not with a simple search? Chapter 1071, Nonsense. Yi Mufan turned to Liang Shihan and snorted. You think we'll let you search just because you said so? Why don't you go and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun? Yi Mufan suspected they must have planted the ring on Yi Wanwan first. Otherwise, they wouldn't have caused such a large disturbance today. If they weren't certain the ring was with Yi Wanwan and they couldn't find the ring on her, then Yi would be the humiliated one. It was almost impossible Yi would do something like that on a day like today. Yi Mufan decided he wouldn't allow anyone to search Yi Wanwan's bag no matter what. Currently, every guest was watching them and whispering amongst themselves. If she didn't take it, why won't she let people search it? That's right. A simple search won't cause any harm and would prove her innocence. If they can't find it, it's Yi who'll be humiliated. Heh, what is there to be unsure about? Everyone else handed their bags over of their own accord and allowed them to be searched. Only that second miss of the eldest branch is unwilling. Isn't it clear that there's something fishy going on? She must have stolen the ring. I'm sure the ring is inside her handbag. Huang Mingquan stepped forward and looked at Yi Wanwan. Miss Wanwan, I'm sorry. But today's a very special day, so I hope Miss Wanwan will cooperate with us. Why should she cooperate with you? Try and search her, I dare you. Yi Mufan stood in front of his sister. Steward Huang, Wanwan definitely wouldn't take it. Yi spoke up to save her. Steward Huang shook his head and sighed. Miss Yi, we've searched the other guests already. It's very disrespectful to the other guests if we don't search Miss Wanwan as well. Moreover, we're merely trying to clear Miss Wanwan's name. We aren't trying to make things difficult for Miss Wanwan. Well, Yi looked hesitant. You're simply too naive. Everyone allowed themselves to be searched except for Yi Wanwan alone. I bet the ring was stolen by her. Why do you keep protecting her in spite of how she treated you? Liang Meixian sneered. Mom, don't talk about Wanwan like that, Yi said with a frown. What am I saying? If she really didn't steal it, she probably would have handed her bag over a long time ago to clear her suspicion. From the looks of it, I'm 90% certain she's the thief. Liang Meixian snorted. The Yi family has truly raised a thankless wretch. How could she commit a burglary like this? The heiresses who took the initiative to hand over their handbags all looked at Yi Wanwan with disgust and distanced themselves from her. They acted as though being in Yi Wanwan's presence was an insult to them. Liang Wanjun and Yi Shouting both looked at Yi Wanwan with shock. They believed their daughter wouldn't commit theft, but they didn't understand why Yi Wanwan was unwilling to relinquish her handbag. Miss Wanwan, I hope you won't keep wasting the guests' valuable time. Huang Mingquan looked at Yi Wanwan. Why do I have to let you search? Yi Wanwan snorted while looking at Huang Mingquan. Because Miss Wanwan is under suspicion of stealing the ring, so please cooperate to clear your name, Miss Wanwan, Huang Mingquan replied. However, Yi Wanwan didn't care at all. The suspicion was determined by you, not me. I myself know whether I should be under any suspicion. So, whether we're talking about logic or the law, I don't have any obligation to cooperate with you. Chapter 1072. 1072. A frown arose on Huang Mingquan's face when he heard Yi Wanwan. He didn't expect Yi Wanwan to be so troublesome. He thought this would be an easy matter to settle. Or could it be that Yi Wanwan detected something? If Yi Wanwan absolutely refused to be searched, there wasn't much he could do. If Yi Wanwan didn't take the ring, why would she act like this? Liang Meixian immediately turned to Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan for help. Tan Yilan frowned at Yi Wanwan and said, Wanwan, if you didn't take Yi's ring, there's nothing to be afraid of. Give your bag to Steward Huang to search. Grandma, it's not that I'm unwilling to let them search, but there are so many guests here today. I don't want to let this matter get too big. Yi Wanwan had an, I'm very troubled, expression. Liang Meixian snorted when she heard that. So it really is you ungrateful bitch who took Yi's ring. How could such shameless scum come out of our family? You even steal things from your family. Yet, you're afraid of being humiliated now? You should have thought of that earlier. You probably stole quite a lot of things while you were outside, didn't you? Yi Wanwan immediately glanced at Liang Meixian. Second aunt, how many days have you not brushed your teeth? Liang Meixian's expression shifted, but before she could say anything, Yi Hongwei made the command for Huang Mingquan to search Yi Wanwan's bag. You can search it if you want, Yi Wanwan coldly said. However, you'll have to be responsible for the consequences, second aunt. Then, Yi Wanwan handed her bag to Huang Mingquan. Everyone's gaze landed on Yi Wanwan's handbag, curious as to whether it was Yi Wanwan who stole the ring. Huang Mingquan casually sifted through it and immediately extracted a jade ring from Yi Wanwan's handbag without any trouble under everyone's eyes. So it really was you. Liang Meixian screamed in shock. Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun were both dumbfounded when they saw Huang Mingquan pulling the ring out of Yi Wanwan's bag. Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan turned furious as they looked at Yi Wanwan. Wanwan isn't that kind of person. There must be some misunderstanding, Yi suddenly said. Misunderstanding? Liang Meixian snorted. Everyone here saw Steward Huang pulling your ring out of Yi Wanwan's bag with their own eyes. What misunderstanding could there be? Why are you still protecting this thankless wretch even now? But, Yi bit her lip and finally sighed, not saying anything more. How vile. Yi Mufan gritted his teeth. He just knew Yi must have set it up beforehand. Yet she was putting on an unbearable and aching act right now. Truly repulsive. Wanwan actually told him to learn a trick or two from her. He was afraid he could never learn to be so shameless in his life though. Shock and exclamations swept through the guests. The second miss of the Yi family's eldest branch was really a thief. And she stole from her own family. An apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It can't be helped. The parents were remiss in her upbringing and raised a thief. How shameful. Some of the guests started jeering. Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan both felt short of breath. What should they do with their pride in such a public setting? Yi Wanwan, you could have told us up front if you were lacking money. I never expected you to be a thief instead. You've truly brought shame upon the Yi family and your grandpa and grandma. How should your grandpa and grandma hold their heads up from now on, you ungrateful wretch? Liang Meixian let loose a torrent of abuse while pointing at Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1073. Yi Mufan hastily stepped forward and scoffed at Liang Meixian. You're clearly the one who put it in there yourself. You're intentionally framing Wanwan. When Yi heard him, hurt surfaced on her face. Mufan, how could you say that? Liang Meixian was full of contempt. Yi, look at this. See how you kept defending them. In the end, not only did they steal your ring and refuse to admit it, but they also hurled the blame back at us. All the guests were looking at Yi Mufan and Yi Wanwan with disgust and distaste. Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan also looked terrible. If it was an insignificant matter, it could be forgiven. However, not only did Yi Wanwan commit theft, but she also stole from her own family. When Liang Shihan saw that the ring was discovered in Yi Wanwan's handbag, she was overjoyed and immediately exclaimed, I knew it. I told you she stole it. Who else here today would do such a lowly and deplorable thing besides her? Yi said, we're a family after all, let's put this matter behind us. A family? Liang Meixian snorted. How does she deserve to be a member of the Yi family? I truly don't know what sin the Yi family committed to have raised someone like her. Yi Wanwan glanced at Liang Meixian and nonchalantly said, Second aunt, you should be more mindful of karma when you speak. You really shouldn't make things so ugly. What? You still have the face to say something like this? Why didn't you think about how unsightly you would appear when your theft was exposed when you were doing it? Liang Meixian raged while pointing at Yi Wanwan's face. Yi Wanwan sighed gently. I originally wanted to leave you a little face in consideration that we're family. Yi Wanwan, you stole Sister Yi's ring. How can you still be so brazen? How could you be so rude and disrespectful to your elders too? Sister Yi, don't be soft-hearted anymore. The proof has been laid bare, but she still refuses to admit it. We should just call the police on someone like her. Liang Shihan proclaimed with righteous indignation. Liang Meixian naturally wanted nothing more than that, so she followed Liang Shihan's lead and said, Yi Wanwan, I would have let this matter slide if you apologized nicely. However, since you refuse to admit your wrongs, don't blame me for taking the legal route. The Yi family shouldn't have thieving scum like you. Who the fuck are you calling scum? That was the last straw for Yi Mufan, and he charged forward. He had never been so angry even when he was the one being insulted. TSK, a daughter who's a thief and a son with violent tendencies. What kind of upbringing is this? When Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan heard the guests' increasingly nasty comments, their expressions shifted again. Sure, I agree. Let's call the police, Yi Wanwan suddenly interjected. Yi Mufan's eyes shot open in shock. Wanwan, what are you saying? I originally didn't want to make things too ugly because we're family. Yi Wanwan glanced at Yi Mufan before continuing. However, these people not only stole my ring but also don't show any remorse. Now, they're framing me instead. I have no choice but to let the police handle this. A stunned silence descended upon the hall when Yi Wanwan finished speaking, and the guests all looked at each other, bewildered. What? Stole her ring? She's dreaming, right? Isn't this Yi's engagement ring? How's it hers? Could it be that she turned delusional from being unable to accept the reality after being discovered? Chapter 1074. 1074 discussion bubbled amongst the guests when they heard Yi Wanwan. Yi Wanwan, what are you saying? I think you've lost your mind. How did Yi's engagement ring become your ring? Liang Meixian looked at Yi Wanwan like she was a fool. Yi Wanwan said with heartbreak, Second aunt, you don't know whether this is my ring or not. I didn't know you had such good acting skills until today. This jade ring belonged to me from the beginning. I've always left it inside my room, but you went to my room and stole my ring. I saw it myself. Yi Wanwan harshly shouted while pointing at Liang Meixian with an extremely angry expression. However, it looked like she was trying her best to repress her rage so she didn't lose control. Ooh, you damn girl, what are you saying? I stole your ring? Liang Meixian screeched. One, don't be rash with your words. Yi had a deep frown as she looked at Yi Wanwan. Rash with my words? Yi Wanwan scoffed. I originally planned to turn a blind eye to this. Since you like it, I'll consider it a congratulatory present for you. Who knew you would treat me like this? When Yi Shouting and Liang Wanjun saw the profound hurt on Yi Wanwan's face, they looked at each other in astonishment. They didn't believe their daughter would commit a theft to begin with, so all doubts drained out of their faces when they heard Yi Wanwan's words. That's right. Yi Mufan was briefly startled before promptly stepping forward. In coordination with Yi Wanwan, he looked at the ring and said, Wanwan spent a large sum of money buying this ring. I remember it very clearly. I was wondering why Wanwan's ring went missing recently. It turned out you stole it. How disgusting to steal from your own family. Blah. Stop making things up. Liang Meishuan's expression was as dark as the bottom of a pan. Second aunt, I saw you sneakily going to my room to steal the ring with my own eyes. I can understand that you wanted to give a blessing to your daughter, but you can't just steal from me, can you? Not only that, but you even wanted to frame me. Yi Wanwan shook her head while sighing, her face pained. You damn girl, you're talking nonsense. I think you're trying to shift the blame out of shame. Do you have any proof? Does second aunt have any proof for accusing me of stealing the ring? What proof do you have to verify that this ring is yours? How absurd. This is Yi's engagement ring. If it's not Yi's, could it be yours? Liang Meixian angrily shouted. Yi doubtfully turned to look at Gu Yueza. Gu Yueza said, This is the engagement ring I bought for Yi. Yi Wanwan turned to Gu Yueza with wide, glistening eyes. Gu Yueza, I didn't expect that you would also help them frame me. Forget it. I should have known. When Gu Yueza heard her, his brows furrowed. What in the world was this woman doing? The audience was completely stunned when they witnessed this scene. What's going on? What else could it be? It must be a ruse. While everyone busied themselves with discussion, Yi Wanwan's eyes hardened and she sharply said, Fine. Great. So what you're saying is that you've been accusing me without a factual basis this whole time? I never make a habit of making unfounded accusations. I have evidence to prove this ring is mine. Chapter 1075. There was an uproar after Yi Wanwan spoke. Liang Meixian sneered. What a joke. Evidence? What evidence could you possibly have? Can the ring talk? Is it yours just because you say it is yours? Yi Wanwan smiled. I'm sorry, second aunt, but this ring really does know how to talk. Liang Meixian, I think you're making trouble without reason. Yi Wanwan ignored Liang Meishuan's ridicule and the audience's strange looks. Let me ask you again, second aunt. You're certain this is Yi's engagement ring, right? Liang Meixian glared at her. Nonsense, of course this ring belongs to our Yi. Yi Wanwan, stop with your rubbish. The truth can't become false and what's false can't become the truth. Oh. Yi Wanwan raised her brows and took the ring from Huang Mingquan's hand. She pensively asked, Then can second aunt explain why Yi's engagement ring has my name carved on it? Liang Meishuan's expression instantly froze. What did you say? Yi Wanwan handed the ring directly to Yi Hongwei. Grandpa, Grandma, take a look at what character is carved inside the ring. Yi Hongwei hastily peered inside, and his expression changed immediately. There's a one carved inside the ring. Tenilan was also shocked. It really is a 1. There are also several numbers that look like Wanwan's birthday after it. That's impossible. Liang Meixian snatched the ring in a flash. When she saw the carved character and number inside the ring, she was dumbstruck. A countless number of guests shifted toward them and also saw Yi Wanwan's name carved on the ring. Immediately, everyone was stupefied. There's really a carved in it. It even has her birthday. This ring must belong to second Miss Yi then, right? Otherwise, why would Yi Wanwan's name be carved on Yi's engagement ring? So second Miss Yi spoke the truth? But why would Liang Meixian do something like this with her status? Liang Meishuan's status? Did you forget how Liang Meixian entered the Yi family back then? Liang Meixian is Liang Wanjuan's younger sister and was merely residing with the Yi family. She somehow sunk her claws into Yi Shaoan later on. Before Yi Shaoan gained control, he didn't have any power or authority, so Liang Meixian naturally didn't gain anything as his wife. So I must say, it's not impossible for her to steal. TSK Diska. The second master of the Yi family is in power now and has everything under his control. If it weren't for the character carved inside this ring, second Miss Yi would have probably taken the blame for sure today. As Liang Meixian listened to the guest chatter, her complexion turned worse. She stared at the ring in disbelief. She didn't understand how Yi Wanwan's name showed up inside the ring no matter how she thought about it. Even Yi and Huang Mingquan were stupefied, and Gu Yueze was also shocked. This ring, he clearly bought it himself, so how could Yi Wanwan's name be carved on it? Liang Meixian glowered at Huang Mingquan darkly, asking him what was going on. However, Huang Mingquan was bewildered and utterly clueless as well. Yi Wanwan watched Liang Meixian's increasingly stiff expression and languidly said, "Second aunt, I already said it wouldn't be good to make this matter ugly." Chapter 1076. Thankfully, second aunt didn't notice the character carved inside the ring when she stole it. Otherwise, there would have been nothing I could do to clear my name today. Yi Wanwan's accusation of stealing caused rage to erupt from Liang Meixian. She tightly clutched the ring and harshly said, "You must have engraved the character on there just now." Yi Wanwan chuckled. "Second aunt said I was talking nonsense earlier, but I think it's second aunt who's talking nonsense, no? The ring's surface might be jade, but the ring itself is platinum gold. Did I engrave it with my nails on the spot?" Liang Meixian gritted her teeth. Then this isn't Yi's engagement ring." Yi Wanwan raised her brows. "Second aunt, you finally admit this isn't Yi's ring?" "This is Yi's ring. But you still stole Yi's engagement ring." Liang Meixian was incensed. Yi Wanwan's disbelief deepened. "Second aunt, you're the one who suddenly blew up and accused me of stealing today. How could I prepare an identical ring in such a short amount of time and also carve my name inside it? Can I predict the future? Did I know second aunt would use such a ridiculous trap to frame me, so I made preparations beforehand?" Yi Wanwan's words elicited a wave of laughter. "You?" Liang Meixian was at a loss for words. Meanwhile, Yi Mufan was on the brink of explosion from his anger. "Liang Meixian, your bullying is too intolerable. Grandpa, Grandma, I beg you to return justice to Wanwan." Yi Shaoting and Liang Wanjun pulled Yi Wanwan into their arms with rage on their faces. Yi Hongwei's face had turned extremely dark now. "Meixian, what's going on?" Liang Meixian anxiously said, "It's not what it looks like. Why would I steal this damn girl's ring? She's framing me." "Yi Hongwei, how do you explain this ring then?" Liang Meixian, Yi Wanwan turned to her grandparents. "Grandpa, Grandma, we're all family, so I originally didn't want to pursue the matter, but I was too hurt just now, so I couldn't help but tell the truth. Sorry, I was too impulsive and made trouble for Grandpa and Grandma." Yi Hongwei recalled his earlier suspicion of Yi Wanwan and looked at the girl's hurt but thoughtful appearance. He felt guilt rising in him. "Wanwan, it's not your fault. You don't need to apologize." Yi Mufan snorted. "Call the police then. Weren't you screaming about calling the police earlier?" I didn't steal it. D***im girl, you framed me. You have the nerve to frame me. I'm going to rip you to pieces." Liang Meixian couldn't explain it no matter what she said and nearly vomited blood from her rage. She lost control and launched herself at Yi Wanwan. However, before she could approach Yi Wanwan, Yi Hongwei furiously shouted, "What utter nonsense! Shaoan, hurry and take your wife inside already. Haven't you humiliated yourself enough yet?" Yi Shaoan gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to pull Liang Meixian back and reluctantly said, "Dad, Mom, this damn girl must have done something. Shut up. Look at yourself. Do you look like a senior at all?" Tan Elan also had a dark expression. The character and numbers on the ring completely made her believe that the second branch was intentionally framing Wanwan. She originally thought Liang Meixian was clever and docile, but who knew she would be just as troublesome. As expected, when a person gets too much power, they start to change. The second branch has been more and more unseemly lately. It looks like it's time to make some plans. Chapter 1077. 1077. All the unpleasant things the guests said about Yi Wanwan were now sent back to Liang Meixian in all their glory. Father Gu and Mother Gu also didn't look too good. Having such a scandal happening to their in-laws during the engagement banquet was a blow to their reputation. They weren't optimistic about Yi Shaoan to begin with, since his abilities were much inferior to Yi Shaoting. If Yi wasn't his only daughter, they wouldn't have agreed to this marriage. Based on Yi Shaoting's current situation, the Yi family's future was uncertain. Who would have expected such a drastic transformation to occur to the incompetent spendthrift, Yi Mufan? Yi was pale as she watched her perfectly good engagement banquet devolving to the current situation. She could already imagine the rumors that would plague their circle after this banquet ended. What was worse was that Grandpa and Grandma, they originally wanted to utilize this chance to make the eldest branch lose favor with Grandpa and Grandma, but it backfired on them again. Damn it. Everything was organized perfectly, so where did it go wrong? As the matter stood, Yi Shaoan had no choice but to forcibly repress his fury. He was about to lead his emotional wife away when Yi Wanwan suddenly said, "Second aunt, my ring." Grandfather angrily chided, "Return it to Wanwan already." Before Liang Meixian could speak, Yi hastily stopped her mother with a look. She took the ring from her mother and handed it to Yi Wanwan. "Wanwan, I'm truly sorry. I didn't expect this. There must be a misunderstanding somewhere in here. I'll apologize to you after the banquet ends." It was evidently her engagement ring, but Yi had to personally return it to Yi Wanwan. Yi nearly couldn't maintain her facade. When she took the ring from her mother, she imperceptibly examined the ring again and ascertained that it was indeed her ring. How did Yi Wanwan's name appear out of nowhere though? "Everyone, I'm truly sorry. We've embarrassed ourselves with some trivial family matters in front of everyone." Meanwhile, Yi Hongwei and Tan Yilan hurried to smooth things over. After all, the engagement banquet had to continue still. After the banquet ended, they still had to expend a huge effort to pacify the guests and the Gu family. As soon as they thought about this, their faces turned darker. After the banquet ended, Yi Hongwei called Yi Mufan to his study. Yi Hongwei sighed and looked at his grandson. "Mufan, Wanwan has been wronged by this matter. You must console her well when you go home. I'll definitely severely punish your aunt." Yi Mufan, "Thank you, grandfather." "Do you know why grandfather called you here?" Yi Hongwei asked. Yi Mufan shook his head to show his incomprehension. Yi Hongwei looked satisfied as he said, "People say hardships cause people to grow up, and they were right. You've finally grown up and become sensible. Grandfather is very pleased. Moreover, you've also taught Wanwan well. That girl is more and more well-mannered." When Yi Mufan heard this, he subconsciously rubbed his nose, feeling a little guilty inside. I'm obviously the one who's being taught, alright? If it weren't for Wanwan using extreme methods to awaken him, he'd still be trudging through life like a fool. Grandpa, I was too disgraceful before and disappointed you and Grandma. I'll work harder, Yi Mufan promised. Yi Hongwei nodded and said after a moment of silence, "You know your reputation in the Yi group from the past. If you want to come back, you must present something to convince the masses. Do you understand?" Chapter 1078. 1078. Yi Hongwei's expectations were obvious. He had plans to allow Yi Mufan to return to the company, but the prerequisite was that he had to show some achievements. Although Yi Hongwei's attitude toward him kept softening, this was his first time making him this type of promise out loud. Today's matter might look like mere family conflict, but it was the fuse that triggered Yi Hongwei to make this decision. Yi Mufan came to a jolt. "Grandpa, I understand. I'll show you my capabilities for sure." After Yi Mufan finished conversing with Yi Hongwei, he left the Yi residence. Yi Shaoting and Liang Meixian went to get the car while Yi Wanwan waited for him at the entrance. As soon as Yi Mufan saw Yi Wanwan, he indignantly shouted, "Damn! Liang Meixian, that bitch! She actually stole your ring then framed you for it." Isn't she too shameless? Simply too shameful. Thank goodness your name was carved inside the ring. Otherwise, you would be wronged to death. Don't feel sad. News of this incident will spread to every corner of our circle tomorrow. See how she'll live inside the circle now. Yi Wanwan nonchalantly glanced at Yi Mufan from the corners of her eyes. Who said she stole my ring? Yi Mufan was startled. Didn't you say she didn't steal it? I framed her, Yi Wanwan answered. What did you say? You framed her? Yi Mufan was dumbfounded and dazedly asked. Then what's up with the name inside the ring? Yi Wanwan raised her eyebrows. I engraved it with my fingernail. Yi Mufan's face darkened. Don't joke with me. Yi Wanwan smiled but didn't leave him hanging anymore and said, the ring that went missing really was Yi's engagement ring, but the ring with the engraved name is mine. As Yi Wanwan said that, she reached for Yi Mufan's suit and a jade ring appeared on her palm in the next second. This is? Yi Mufan's eyes widened. Yi Wanwan turned the ring to show the inside to Yi Mufan. There wasn't anything carved inside of it. This ring with nothing engraved is Yi's. When Huang Mingkuan put it inside my bag, I took it out and moved it to you. As for the ring inside my bag, it's a ring with my name engraved that I prepared ahead of time. Damn. Yi Mufan was stupefied. There's this kind of operation too? So you were framing Liang Meixian all along? Yi Wanwan nodded. Yup. Yi Mufan, your acting skills deceived even me, all right? Yi Wanwan raised her brows. Is it hard to deceive you? Yi Mufan choked. How did you know to prepare this beforehand? Yi Wanwan thought about it and offhandedly said, I have my methods, so I got some news ahead of time. In truth, this was the same trick that Yi and Liang Meixian used in her previous life. However, Si Yihan didn't allow her to attend the engagement banquet back then, so their victim was Yi Mufan instead of her. It was later that she heard Yi Mufan stole Yi's engagement ring during her engagement banquet and refused to admit it after being discovered and broke into a fight. Yi Mufan's reputation was bad from the beginning, so he was akin to a street rat after this event. After her rebirth, many things changed due to the butterfly effect, so she couldn't accurately predict many things. However, she made preparations ahead of time for security. Thankfully it came in handy. No matter how fate evolved, a person's nature wouldn't change. Yi and her mother really wouldn't rest. They merely changed the victim to the seemingly weaker Yi Wanwan. Chapter 1079. If you want to accomplish something, you have to pay particular attention to whether the time and conditions are favorable. The eldest branch's reputation was too terrible before, but we've been improving our reputation. Grandpa and Grandma's opinion is getting more and more biased. Now, we're prepared but lack a crucial element. Gaining people's favor is the first step, but our strength is the most important part. For the next step, we must put on a magnificent show, Yi Wanwan said. Yi Mufan nodded. Your predictions are completely right, Wanwan. This was why Grandpa called me into his study. Grandpa already promised me a chance as long as I have some achievements to show off. That's good. The following period will be vital. We mustn't lower our guard. Don't worry, Wanwan. I'll work overtime and keep a close watch. Yi Mufan was talking as Yi Wanwan's phone suddenly rang. It was a very particular ringtone, piercing as a siren. Whose message is it? What the hell is up with this ringtone? Why is it like a police siren? Yi Mufan asked curiously when he heard this weird noise. As soon as Yi Wanwan heard the ringtone, she scrambled to take her phone out. My boyfriend's message. Yi Mufan, do you need to set such a terrifying ringtone for your boyfriend? Yi Wanwan, of course I do. Yi Wanwan immediately called Si Yihan back. Hey, honey, I'm done here. I'll come back now. Sleep first with our son. Yi Mufan, son, do you have to say it so naturally? After Yi Wanwan finished her call, Yi Mufan mumbled, that child hasn't left yet? How long do you plan to let him stay? If they still can't find her, do you plan to keep letting him stay with you? Yi Wanwan blinked. Why not? Tang Tang is so good. Anyway, it's not like I can't afford to raise him. Yi Mufan was speechless. That's not the point, alright? He's not your child after all. Why would you keep raising him? Nonsense. He's my child. Yi Mufan. Little House of Rose. Si Yihan sat on the sofa in the living room with a book in his hands. Slaughter was laying on the carpet next to the sofa and dozing off while a fair and adorable child laid against the giant white tiger. The child was sitting properly the whole time, but perhaps due to extreme fatigue, his eyes were sleepy and hazy and his body was swaying. He rubbed his eyes occasionally. Si Yihan randomly laid a pink blanket over him and would reach out to support him every time the child fell from his sleepiness. Do you want to sleep? Si Yihan asked Tang Tang. The little fella immediately shook his head. I want to wait for mommy. Si Yihan didn't say anything else. The little fella had his eyes half closed as he sleepily laid on Great White and muttered, Great White, where's mommy? Why isn't mommy back yet? When will mommy come back? Will she still love me when she comes back? Will she still want me? Si Yihan, Great White opened his eyes and glanced at the child laying on him before promptly closing his eyes again. After a while, Great White's ears perked up and he looked toward the main door. After getting out of the car, Yi Wanwan sprinted straight into the living room and was intending to go upstairs to the bedroom. However, she saw this incredibly heartwarming scene upon opening the door, and her heart jolted. Chapter 1080. 1080. As soon as Tang Tang heard Yi Wanwan's voice, he immediately rubbed his eyes and shot up before rapidly waddling over to his mother. Mommy! The little fella tilted his head up and joyfully looked at her with his large, sparkling eyes. Mommy, you're back. Yi Wanwan patted the child's head. Why aren't you asleep yet? Tang Tang childishly said, I wanted to wait for mommy to come back. Yi Wanwan felt both moved and heartache. She turned to Si Yihan and said, Ajio, why didn't you stop him? His body is growing right now. How can you let him sleep so late? Si Yihan dryly said, Don't do to others what you wouldn't have them do to you. Yi Wanwan. In other words, he also wanted to wait for her to come back, so he didn't force Tang Tang? Her baby's style of honeyed words was really as roundabout as usual. The next day, Mu Suifeng's trip to China was coming to an end, and he was returning home. Yi Wanwan followed Si Yihan to escort him to the airport. Mu Suifeng chatted with Si Yihan for a while. Then he turned to Yi Wanwan and said politely, Thank you for Chairman Si's magnificent hospitality. Miss Yi, in particular, has made me feel like this trip was worth it. Yi Wanwan looked humbled. You flatter me, Mr. Mu. Mu Suifeng quickly said, Don't be humble, Miss Yi. These are my earnest feelings. Being able to see someone as martially talented as Miss Yi outside of Independent State has truly made me pleasantly surprised. Si Yihan's eyes flashed imperceptibly. When Yi Wanwan heard Independent State, her eyes brightened. She exclaimed eagerly, Ever since you mentioned Independent State last time, I've been very curious about it. I really want to visit and broaden my world if I have the chance. Mu Suifeng chuckled. I'm afraid that's impossible. Why is it impossible? Yi Wanwan didn't understand. Mu Suifeng answered. Normal people can't casually enter and leave the Independent State. It requires a special permit. It's like how we need a passport and visa if we go to other countries. If you rashly intrude and are discovered, you might even lose your life. The Independent State's power is truly too great. If it's overly exposed in the outside world, it might attract great trouble, so normal people can't casually enter it. This is the rule established by the Independent State. So it's like that? Yi Wanwan nodded upon hearing that and couldn't help but find it regrettable. No wonder the outside world was completely ignorant about the Independent State, and it was like an entirely independent underground kingdom here. After sending Mu Suifeng away, Yi Wanwan sat in the car listlessly and complained to Si Yihan. How regrettable. I thought I could vacation there. It turns out I can't. Si Yihan glanced at her. You really want to go? Yi Wanwan keenly detected a hint of danger in Si Yihan's eyes and quickly shook her head. No, I don't want to go anywhere. However, Si Yihan evidently didn't believe her. When Yi Wanwan saw the man's seemingly icy but uneasy expression, she chuckled and laid a kiss on his lips. Fine, I'll admit it. I do want to go, but I also want to go to many, many places. After all, a person's life is but a mere few decades long, so I want to travel the world and see nature's beauty with my own eyes. However, Yi Wanwan glanced at him. However, after meeting you, I think it's fine to pause a bit too. The emotions in Si-hin's eyes trembled, and he fiercely pulled her into his arms. A moment later, the man's extremely stifled voice was heard. Don't lie to me again. Yi Wanwan was startled. Why would I? It's the truth, okay? What did Si-hin mean by, again, just now? Could it be that I've lied to him before? That's impossible, right? How can I possibly have the guts to deceive Si-hin? Chapter 1081. 1081. Soon, the campus portion of A Life and Death Struggle came to an end. Today marked the final scene in the campus portion. The director, Lu Qing, said worriedly, Director Yi, I'm afraid the latter scenes won't be easy to shoot. Are you sure Gong Su can act them well? This film signified whether he could reverse his fate, so he naturally attached great importance to this too. Lu Qing was previously an actor. Although he worked incredibly hard, his appearance wasn't remarkable, so he couldn't climb up the ladder and could only dwell in the lowest rung of the entertainment industry. Later, he had no choice but to change careers and become a director behind the scenes. Lu Qing was inherently talented and also worked hard. After he switched careers, he shot a few art films that garnered decent ratings but didn't explode in popularity, so he spent all of his savings that he amassed when he was an actor. Yi Wanwan had seen Lu Qing's films before and knew he was very capable, but unfortunately he didn't know how to choose a good screenplay and actors. Although he didn't choose a good screenplay the past few times, there were also issues with the actors. Global Entertainment had reconciled with them on the surface but kept setting up obstructions for them secretly. Hence, it was difficult for them to find a suitable director, and they weren't capable of inviting famous directors. Yi Wanwan took a long time searching before she found Lu Qing. Thankfully, Lu Qing was very professional during the shooting, which proved she hadn't misjudged him. Yi Wanwan said, It'll be fine, Director Lu. Finish shooting this initial portion first. I will take Gong Su and Luo Chen for special training next week, and we'll continue shooting after we return. You can examine the effects then. Lu Qing might be worried, but he nodded upon seeing Yi Wanwan's confident expression. All right, I understand. A little distance away, Gong Su had just finished shooting a scene. He was taking advantage of his break to run around with his phone and do mysterious things. He had Dong Zai hold his phone for him and sprinted toward Han Xinyu. Tell me, who is more handsome, Han Xinyu or me? Han Xinyu saw that Gong Su appeared to be holding a live stream with the fans on his phone, so he chuckled lightly and waved to the fans in the live stream as he greeted, Hello, everyone. Han Xinyu. It's Han Xinyu. My God. Little angel Xinyu is too handsome. When Gong Su saw the barrage of comments on the bullet screen, his face darkened. Hey, just whose fans are you? Tell me who's more handsome. You're handsome, you're handsome. Baby Su, you're the most handsome. Don't be jealous, okay? We want to see Luo Chen. Luo Chen. Luo Chen. Baby Su, how about you go and hit on Luo Chen? That's right, that's right. Go hit on Luo Chen, I beg you. This chapter is scrapped from Riyadh Light Novel. Or Gong Su's face turned darker when he saw the bullet screen. He harumphed. No. Who'd want to go hit on that coffin face? Baby Su is being prideful again. Be good, Baby Su. Go on. His fans were all crazily flooding the bullet screen. Currently, Luo Chen was holding his script and asking Yi Wanwan some questions. He had already gotten used to Yi Wanwan's explanation style, so he frequently went to Yi Wanwan for help. When Gong Su saw that Luo Chen was plastered to Yi Wanwan again, he instantly exploded and rapidly darted over. Dong Zai quickly followed with the phone. When the fans watching the live stream saw Gong Su running toward Luo Chen, they all excitedly flooded the comments and crazily tipped him with gifts. Gong Su irritably glared at Luo Chen when he arrived. Move! Luo Chen frowned. Do you need something? Of course I need something. After saying that, he forcibly pushed Luo Chen to the side and shot toward Yi Wanwan with a bright grin. Brother, can I hit on you? Yi Wanwan glanced at him, speechless. You can't. Tragic sadness instantly overrode Gong Su's face. Why? I already have a partner. Thanks. Chapter 1082. At the same time, at Sandalwood Villa, Yi Wanwan needed to go to the film crew in the morning, so Si Yihan brought Tang Tang over first and ran into Lin Kei and Xiezhiji, who came to relax as well. Since they had never seen Si Yihan caring for a child, they found it too novel and shamelessly stuck to him. Xiezhiji was playing with his phone, bored, when he suddenly revealed an interested expression. Ajio, I saw something fun, do you want to see? Si Yihan ignored him without surprise. Your little Yi is here too. Xiezhiji added. Only then did Si Yihan look over. As soon as Lin Kei heard this, he also joined the party. He's that actor under Yi Wanwan, right? On the phone screen, the fancily dressed actor showed up in front of Yi Wanwan and asked, Brother, can I hit on you? Lin Kei immediately spat out his water. He didn't expect to see such an explosive scene unpredictably. In his surprise, he saw Yi Wanwan answer without any hesitation. I already have a partner. Thanks. Xiezhiji sardonically glanced at Si Yihan. PFT, strict upbringing, huh? Lin Kei pursed his lips. It's more like she has a strong desire for survival. What are these? Si Yihan asked when he saw the presents flooding the live stream. Xiezhiji answered, Oh, these. These are the fans' gifts. The most expensive is a yacht. It requires 13,140 gems, which in Chinese yuan is. Currently, the fans were nearly going crazy from how hard they flooded the bullet screen. Haha, Baby Sue actually failed. This little big brother has a very individual personality. Who is this little big brother? He's too handsome. I know. He's Gong Su's manager, Brother Yi Bai. I saw their company's group photo last time. He's super handsome. Baby Sue, please give more screen time to little big brother Yi Bai. So unfortunate. Little big brother actually has a girlfriend already. His girlfriend must have rescued the galaxy. Everyone flooded the livestream room with comments about wanting to see Yi Bai. Suddenly, a special effect exploded in the livestream room. Someone gifted a yacht. Then, soon after, yachts flooded the screen one after another. The entire room erupted again. A whale actually sent 10 yachts in a row. Damn. Where did this whale come from? 10 yachts. Too terrifying. Their ID is S9, but I've never seen this ID nor is it on the whale chart. I think it's a newly registered account. Gong Su stared at the ID and mumbled with a frown, Who is this? I don't think it's my fan. Fans typically liked to use their idol's photos or the fan group's icon as their profile icon. Moreover, the die-hard fans used IDs like A Kiss for Baby Sue, Love Sue, or the like, so this ID was extremely peculiar. When Yi Wanwan accidentally saw the ID, her brows raised instantly. S9. Si Yihan. But why would Si Yihan watch something like a live stream and also send gifts? No more. Today's live stream will end here. Upon seeing that his fans all wanted to see Yi Bai, Gong Su had Dong Zai turn the live stream offline. That fan just now, Yi Wanwan rubbed her chin. Gong Su ran over and asked, What fan? The fan who sent the yachts just now. I think it's my boyfriend. Gong Su's face turned as black as the bottom of a pan. Why do I have to suffer a public display of affections from two men? Chapter 1083. 1083. As Yi Wanwan said that, she sent a message to Si Yihan. All that the message said was, S9? Si Yihan quickly replied, Yeah. Yi Wanwan chuckled at his reply. Why were you watching Gong Su's livestream? Si Yihan. I ran into Xiezhiji. Realization dawned on Yi Wanwan. No wonder. Like she was saying, why would Si Hin watch something like this? Although Gong Su couldn't see Yi Wanwan's messages, he could guess its contents based on her gentle smile. He felt like he had swallowed shit. Hey, brother Yi, enough already. So freaking aggravating. No wonder I thought the ID, S9, was weird. Why do I feel like I've become the third wheel in my own livestream room? Gong Su complained indignantly. Yi Wanwan glanced at Gong Su and said, "You've profited from the 10 yachts." Gong Su wailed as he grabbed a nearby cushion and harshly bit into it. "I don't want those gifts at all right? It's not enough to pay for my psychological damage. You're awful. You know full well that I'm suffering from one-sided lovesickness and can't be provoked. Don't you know you should cherish little animals?" Cherish little animals. Yi Wanwan's mouth twitched. She immediately coughed and turned serious. Fine, no more joking. Let's talk about official business. I previously told you that you and Luo Chen would have to start your special training after this scene finished shooting. Do you remember? Gong Su carelessly said, "I remember. I can start whenever." Upon seeing that Gong Su was completely unaware of the danger looming ahead, Yi Wanwan kindly reminded him, "The special training this time will be painstaking, so mentally prepare yourself." Gong Su pursed his lips. How painstaking? Could it be more painstaking than going to the countryside and getting a transformation? Yi Wanwan was at a loss for words. This was truly a young master who had never experienced life's hardships. The most painstaking thing he had done was undergoing a transformation in the countryside. The only thing she worried about this film was that Gong Su couldn't persist. Yi Wanwan sternly instructed him, "Drop your careless attitude. You're turning into a professional special forces soldier in the latter portion of this film, so I arranged extremely strict special training for you. Everything is according to professional standards." Gong Su confidently said, "Brother Yi, how could you have so little faith in me? Don't worry, for little candied plum, I don't care even if I have to climb a mountain of swords and plunge into a sea of flames. What's some minor hardship in the face of love? It's all nothing." Yi Wanwan relaxed slightly upon seeing Gong Su brimming with motivation and strength. She hoped that this punk would really be as reliable as he claimed to be so that her bet wouldn't be wasted. A few days later, the campus portion successfully wrapped up with shooting, and Yi Wanwan took Gong Su and Luo Qin to the Special C training grounds in C City, near Imperial City. Special C was a special forces unit in C City's military base. They only managed to collaborate with the special forces and gained permission for Gong Su and Luo Qin to come and personally experience training due to their decent script and Yi Mufan's many connections. Of course, it was only basic training, but to normal people, especially celebrities who lived like royalty typically, it was more than enough. "Instructor Lei, thank you for your trouble." Yi Wanwan handed Luo Chen and Gong Su to the military instructor who came to receive them. Luo Chen's basics are fine, but Gong Su's physique might be a bit poor. "I'll leave them in your hands, Instructor Lei. Don't worry, leave them to us." Chapter 1084. 1084 Gong Su mumbled with displeasure, "Brother Yi, how am I worse than Luo Chen? I regularly work out, alright? Look at my abs, look." As Gong Su said this, he pulled his shirt up and revealed his proud abs. Yi Wanwan's mouth twitched wordlessly. She intentionally goaded him with ridicule. "You think this is awesome? Your abs are nowhere near the level of Luo Chen when he trained with his martial arts teacher." As soon as Gong Su heard this, he flew off the handle. "Hey, you've seen Luo Chen's? When? Where? You bastard, you really used underhanded techniques while I was gone. You're terrible." Yi Wanwan, this guy's point of focus? Luo Chen. Luo Chen took a step back surreptitiously, evidently not wanting to be infected with Gong Su's idiocy. However, he couldn't help but recall the day when Yi Wanwan officially started managing him. Back then, Brother Yi wanted him to strip so she could see his physique and arrange a suitable workout and training program for him. He acted like a knave who used his own yardstick to measure the motive of an upright man and nearly suspected Brother Yi to be the same as Zhou Wenbin. With that thought, Luo Chen couldn't help but be ashamed and his ears blushed. Yi Wanwan rolled her eyes at Gong Su. It was when I just started managing Luo Chen. You didn't exist to me back then, okay? Gong Su instantly nestled into a corner and started planting mushrooms. I knew it. I knew I would never measure up to Luo Chen in your heart. Is it because he came earlier than me? I trusted the wrong person back then. I'm also very pitiful. Why are you discriminating against me? When Yi Wanwan saw that this punk was acting up again, she kicked him irritably. Stand up. If you normally act at the level you displayed just now, you wouldn't have to worry about whether you could get Best Actor. As soon as Gong Su heard this, his eyes brightened. Oh, Brother Yi, I knew you had high hopes for me. I will obtain Best Actor for sure with my acting skills. Yi Wanwan, I wasn't complimenting him in the slightest just now, alright? How does his brain work? Gong Su and Luo Chen's training before the next portion mainly comprised of wrestling, shooting, firearms, mine clearance, skydiving, etc. It covered quite a broad range, and it would be more than enough for the next portion of shooting if they could learn it adeptly. Because it was the first day, Yi Wanwan followed them. Instructor Lei quickly led the three of them to a training ground. Gong Su was curious about everything the entire way and skipped his way to the training grounds. When he arrived at the location, Gong Su's bright and sunny face instantly turned stormy and thunderous. Before them, there was a giant quagmire with an electric wire net above it. A few dozen soldiers were strenuously crawling through the quagmire, mud soaking them from head to toe and hiding their original appearance. If they lifted their bodies even the tiniest bit, they would cry piteously from being electrocuted by the electric wires. This exciting? Gong Su touched his new carefully chosen sakura pink hairstyle, his limited edition hoodie, and his soft and tender face. He subconsciously took a step back. Yi Wanwan reacted immediately and latched onto the back of Gong Su's hoodie. Why are you running? Brother Yi, I think it's just acting. We don't need to be so serious, right? Gong Su belatedly realized the scariness of the training. Didn't you say you would climb a mountain of swords and plunge into a sea of flames for little candied plum before coming here? That's right. I said I'd climb a mountain of swords and plunge into a sea of flames, not this. Gong Su righteously exclaimed. Yi Wanwan, where's your integrity? You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.